My story would have to begin, I think, on Pender Street as I'm walking back to the Business Council, and this is the summer of 2008, so over 2 years ago, and I've just had lunch at the Vancouver Club, where I often go with our members, and I get back to the office and I tell my good friend and assistant Barbara McNichol sitting up front here today, you know, Barbara, I've got a stomach ache, like right up here, high up in my stomach. I've got a sort of like a hollow pain that doesn't seem to want to go away. So we talk about what did you eat, and we agree it's coffee. If it isn't menopause, it's coffee. You can one or the other. So we start with coffee. We couldn't do much about the other.
Now I look at the list of symptoms and people say it's a silent killer. I say it's not silent. Look at that list of symptoms, and I had them all. There wasn't a single symptom on that list that I wasn't belly aching about. Like literally, I was complaining to people. We were talking about food intolerances, coffee intolerances. We were talking about post-menopause. We were having all kinds of speculative conversations, but not one person ever said to me, put those together, they sound like ovarian cancer.
There were a number of things that were going on, and eventually I got to my doctor and we had a conversation about it, and once we agreed that it could be age and it could be menopause, but maybe it was more, I had an ultrasound, and within days there it was. I carried it around in my purse. I showed it to anyone who was interested. It said that I had tumors on my fallopian tubes and that my belly was in fact filling with fluid, which is something that happens frequently and still to this day with ovarian cancer.
Could have knocked me over. Could have knocked me over. Even up until, and Lyle and I talk about this now, when we were sitting together in the cancer agency, in the examining room, waiting for the doctors to come and talk to us, I actually thought the doctors were coming to tell us that the tumors that they saw on the fallopian tube were not cancerous and that they were going to have to remove them, but they were not cancerous. I don't know where I got that from because all signs were pointing in a different direction, but I was not expecting a diagnosis of ovarian cancer.
I've learned since then that the two key words are persistent and progressive. And if you have something that is persistent and progressive for more than even 3 weeks, you really do need to be your own health advocate. You really do need to press for more information, educate yourself and your doctor.
I let persistent and progressive symptoms live with me for probably more than a year when I think back on it now.
I dealt with it as many of you in the room deal with it, as something that you can live with, something that will pass, something you've experienced before. But that's not the case. And so heed yourself and heed your body and talk to your friends and to your family about what you've learned here today, because they will talk to their friends and to their family, and that's how we will change things in the same way that we have with so many other devastating illnesses.
I watched so many brave people in the years that I worked for the Breast Cancer Foundation, and I never had breast cancer. So all those years, women stepped up and told their stories and came to the runs and came to the walks and wore their pink shirts and told their stories to one another. And I thought, that's great. That's what you have to do. When your time comes, that's what you have to do.